One of the bags I was carrying got caught in the front spokes and I went over the handlebars. My wife was the first person on the scene, and she starts screaming for help. So yeah, God let me be single for quite a long while before I really even started dating. I started dating in my very early 30s, trying to figure out how I was going to be the father and the husband that I wanted to be when I realized that at age 30. So God held back for me, and He helped me find my beautiful wife that I have now. So I had all that build up in my life, and then our wedding day happened, and it was a beautiful day. Such a high after all the planning and the experiencing of the wedding day. We came down from that, and we just had a week of rest. Anna went back to work for one day, and I was able to join her there, and then we had to figure out what our honeymoon was going to be. So we started to discuss it, and we were trying to get into Greece, but it was very hard to get into Greece from the U.S. All the flights were booked. Flights from Europe into Greece were also booked. So we kind of had to regroup and kind of figure out what our plan was going to be, and we decided that Barcelona was going to be a good option. It was a really beautiful city. They were in an economic downturn, so where our dollar could go a long way. So we took the plunge, and a day and a half later, we were on a plane and we were headed to Barcelona. Didn't have anything booked, didn't know anything about what we were going to do. We were just going. We were just we were winging it. So, the spontaneity, going to just little coffee shops, getting fun food, waking up in a way too hot Airbnb that was not as advertised. And so it was a little rocky, but yeah, we were just kind of interested in just kind of being together in a foreign place and just kind of feeling it out as we went. So we quit our first Airbnb. It was in a part of the city that wasn't very interesting. We decided to head out to the beach for a couple days. So we got a place in Badalona, which is just up the coast from Barcelona. And we got this beautiful little house with this wonderful couple, Mark and Lydia. They were great Airbnb hosts. And Badalona is a beach town. So we had the opportunity to just kind of go and hang out on the beach. So we wake up the next morning, and we were going to borrow his bikes, and we were going to head down to the beach. So we started riding down into town. We had to stop and grab some towels and a beach blanket, and then our day was just going to be the beach. So we get the towels, we get the beach blanket, we hop back on the bikes, and we start riding to the beach. Within probably 100 feet of the beach, my bike riding goes south, and one of the bags I was carrying got caught in the front spokes, and I went over the handlebars. My wife was the first person on the scene. I'm laying there on the ground bleeding, unconscious, unresponsive, and she immediately goes into protection mode and gets me stable, starts to try to get me to wake up, and she starts screaming for help. So from there, a doctor walks onto the scene. The first person to respond after my wife is a trained physician. She basically gets my wife to just step back a little bit, and she starts to basically kind of just assess the situation. At the same time, they're getting the ambulance called, and the ambulance shows up immediately thereafter. They wheel me off to the first hospital, which is a regional hospital that really isn't equipped for the spinal injury that I had. But they assess me and don't feel comfortable with making a diagnosis really at all. So they get another ambulance and send me off to a specialist center back in Barcelona. They have a trauma center specifically for spinal damage. They send us back there, Val de Hebron, and at that point, it's very obvious that something is wrong. I don't have much feeling in my hands, and the feeling that I have in my hands is getting worse by the day. And ultimately, I ended up in the hospital, or I ended up in the surgery room. They ended up having to put a plate in my neck. They ended up basically stabilizing my spine so my spinal cord could start to heal, so that I could regain feeling in my hands. Initially, I didn't have a lot of fears. My fears started to come in as this drew out, as we were there for 2 weeks in the hospital. My wife, she had to go home every evening. She had to come back every morning. And some nights she's waiting outside for a taxi to show up and it's 10 o'clock and I'm inside unable to help. She needs someone to assist her and there's no one available. That's the last position I ever wanted to be in. But I knew that God was with us. I knew that He was watching us through this entire thing because we had so many blessings through this entire ordeal. But at that time, it's hard to tell what is He has a plan. What is it? Just tell us. But we did have a lot of blessings. The day of the accident, word spread around to our families. And some distant family relatives of ours that we didn't even know about were missionaries in Barcelona. And they were at our side that first day. They didn't leave our side until they drove us to the airport when we were headed home after the hospital stay. They're still great friends of ours. They know Barcelona. They know the culture. They know the language. God, thank you, God, for the language. And so they were essentially family, but with no preconceived notions of how anything had to go down. They were happy to just be our support system out there. And that was the best thing God could have given us. And the word getting around to all of our family and friends was, I don't think we expected much. We didn't expect, we knew that we'd be in people's thoughts and prayers, but to the level that the word was spread around our community was amazing. We still hear today from people that were praying for us when it was happening. People that were petitioning God to just get us home. And ultimately He did. He completely came through for us. And He gave us though it was a bittersweet honeymoon, we can look back and we can see where God was working in it. We were in a hospital with largely non-believers. It's very much a secular culture out there. We were a shining light to our nurses who told us this on many occasions. We're a shining light to the locals who were in there for the same problems, the spinal problems. So, He was able to take 2 people from Colorado, which, were the other side of the world, and He was able to use us to minister to this community that Paul was at originally, and that have strayed away. So, did He need us there? No. Was He able to use us there? Yes. Our lives are richer for what He was able to do on our honeymoon, this time that was supposed to be glorious and amazing, and a time where we could start our lives together. But we learned that God, He's very much in control of our lives. We have pretty much given up control at this point. He's wrestled it from us. That's all we have, is trust in Him. When it comes to it at the end of the day, we can try as we might to get our way in things, to get things to turn out, the way that we plan them. But ultimately, it's all out of our control. We can set ourselves up for success, but the ultimate outcome is His and His choice. And when you embrace that, it gives you freedom.